Hello and welcome to this Labl.it training video covering the import and export functionality. My name's Sean, I'm head of tech here at Labl.it, and in this video we're going to talk about what the features and functionality is and how to use it. First of all, before we start, I just want to caveat and a bit of a disclaimer is that we typically like really short, sharp training videos here at Labl.it, and this is possibly our longest video, but it is necessary. So what I'd really recommend is that you find some time when you're not going to be interrupted, sit down and just watch this video end to end, just to get an understanding of how the whole process works. And then when you want to apply this to your own account, play the video again and then pause it after each step, and you'll see the steps as documented as we move through page by page. Okay, first of all, let's take a look at the account that we're using with regards to this demo. So you can see just here we've got some basic categories set up just here. This is just one of our demo accounts. It's literally just 3 products. We've got some barcode tests and what else we've got here? A celery label. So we don't actually want these products in the database. So in this example, we're actually going to upload a spreadsheet, wipe these products, and replace them with the products that are in the spreadsheet. So to start with, we need to navigate to the import page, which is found on the left nav menu just here. So we're going to click imports, and then this brings up the import configurations page. First of all, we're just going to touch on exporting the data from the database, and this is really easy. You simply type your email in the field just down here. So I'm just typing in our demo email just here, info at Labl.it. Click export, and this will export a list of all of your products that are saved within the Labl.it database in an XLSX file, which you can open with Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel. And if we did that for this particular account, it would look something like this. So we dived into the products earlier on, didn't we? And you can see the celery and the few barcode tests. So ignore the actual data, because this will be custom, depends what you've got saved in your database. But what you will see is these common field headers just here: name, category, expiry, storage override, ingredients. Obviously that would only be for sale labels. SKU, the unique primary identifier for the product, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we come to updating. And then you've got the prep fields such as allergens, custom allergens, may contains. So you can export all of the products that are in your current database using this functionality, and it might be the case that you want to export all of the products and then edit them slightly and then re-upload. And so that's what you can do with this import-export functionality. So that covers off the export side of things. Now we're going to move on to, okay, well, how do I take an Excel file and upload it into the system? So to start with, we're just going to click Add New at the top just here. So we're going to create a configuration. So we click Add New. Step 1. At this stage, we're not actually uploading the data. All we're doing is we're saying, this is my spreadsheet. These are the columns in the spreadsheet, and this is how they map to the columns within the Labl.it database. So let's do that now. Before we do this as well, I'll just touch on this. If you want to download a template, an Excel template to use, so that has those column headers on that we just saw. So I'll show you now. So the column headers just here. So name, category, ingredients, SKU, and allergens. There's a nice, easy to download template if you just click there at the end of that sentence where it says download here, and you can use that as a template to create one of these files. So if you don't know where to start, that's a really good place to start to download that template to begin with. So imagine I've already downloaded the template and I've created my file, and actually this is the file that I've created here. So we've got a couple of categories and a couple of products in the bread category, bread roll and bread loaf. A couple of cakes in a cakes category, and you can see what the SKUs here, and they've got a few allergens. So if we go to the back office again, we're going to click Upload File, and I'm going to locate that file. So I was actually using Google Sheets just then, but we're going to upload the CSV. Okay. That's one thing I will touch on as well. So just before we move on, you need to upload these files in CSV format, comma separated values. Really easy to do, whether you're using Excel or you're using Google Sheets. In Excel, I believe it would be file save as, and the file type would just be CSV when you just below the name. Or in Google Sheets, it's file download. And you can see here .csv, comma separated values. So when we do save these files ready to upload, we do have to save them in .csv file format, and that is important. But anyway, we've uploaded that CSV file, and now the step 2 is where we're going to map the columns in our spreadsheet to the columns that are fixed in the Labl.it database. Really easy to do. We simply click the drop down just here, and this will give us a list of, basically, it's giving us a list of these fields here at the top, what we call the column headers. So it's just matching these. Really easy. We drop down there. Name should be obviously matched to name in the Labl.it database. Allergens in the spreadsheet should be matched with the allergens column in the spreadsheet. The ingredients field on the spreadsheet should be matched with ingredients within the database. Now, if for whatever reason your spreadsheet, maybe you've exported it from a third-party system, the terminology might be slightly different. So maybe it might be, instead of category, it might be section. That's no worries at all. They don't have to be the same words. It might be the fact that that says section there, but you want to map section into the category field within Labl.it. No worries at all. But yeah, line these up and map the fields across. It's important to say that actually, as long as the file type and the file structure doesn't change between uploads, we can keep using this configuration, and you'll see how we do that in a second. But anyway, these are all lined up now, so I'm going to click next. In step 3, this is an optional step. You don't have to use it, but it might be the case that the categories within your import spreadsheet, so I'm just going to mimic it here. Imagine your spreadsheet, for some reason, again, it might be the case that you're using a third-party system, exports the categories, and it says cakes 1 is the category. The category within your Labl.it database is actually just called cakes. But you know that it comes across as cakes 1 in the spreadsheet, but you don't want it to be called cakes 1, you want it to be called cakes. This allows you to effectively map across different category names between the spreadsheet and what is already established in the Labl.it database. For this instance, we're not doing any sort of overrides in this regard, so we can just leave that blank and we can just click next. At this point, we need to save a name for the configuration. So it's important to note that you can only import either prep or sale items at once, and you can't import one file that contains some prep and some sale. You need to do those separately. So this we're going to call prep import 1. Yep, and you can see we've got prep selected just here, and these are all prep items, because we can see they've got the allergens field completed. If it was a sale product, we'd expect to see the ingredients field over here, because obviously the sale labels have ingredients rather than the allergen field. But this is giving you a preview as to how the fields have mapped across. So we can see here, name, yep, that's correct. All of the product names are in the name field. All of the allergens are in the allergens field. The categories are in the categories field. And the SKU field is populated with these numbers here. And this matches really nicely against our spreadsheet. So we're happy that now all the fields are matched across correctly. And we're going to click Submit Configuration. At this point, you get a little warning modal saying that the data has not yet been imported. All we've done so far is just match what data should go where. But we're going to do the actual import in the following steps right now. That creates the configuration just here, and we can see the mapping just here. And if I click back, you'll see here this has created this line at the top just here, prep import 1. So whenever we upload something that's in the same format as this spreadsheet here, we can use this here, obviously, as long as it's for prep. You'd create a new one for the sale import if you wanted to do that. So let's click this this config just here. It brings us back to the screen that we were just on. And now we're going to create a job just here. I'm going to click create. And now we've got two options. This is a really important stage in the process. We can either choose to create an update products. So this means that if a product doesn't yet exist, it will create it. If the product does exist, then it will update it. Or we can choose purge. Purge is the more dangerous option because purge deletes everything that's in your current database and just replaces it with what's in the import file. So if you forget that at any point, you can just hover over the little eye icon just there and it gives you a little bit of a explainer. But yeah, really important to know the difference between create and update and purge. With regards to updating a product, it will only update products if the SKU code on the spreadsheet is the same as the SKU code which is already in the database. And I can show you how to update those SKU codes a little bit later on in this video. In this instance, we're going to choose purge because we actually want to wipe everything that's in the current database because effectively they were just demo items, weren't they? They weren't actual products. So we're going to delete all of those and we're going to replace with what's in the spreadsheet. Triggers, at the moment we only have manual triggers. At a later point in time we'll be introducing automatic triggers and recurring triggers, but at the moment we're just doing manual, so there's only one option there. And we can put in an email just here for any error emails that need to be sent across. So if the import fails, we get notified of why it fails to that email address. So I'm going to click create just here. And then it's now time to upload the file. Again, so nothing has yet been uploaded. We're just, again, still sort of preparing the upload. I'm going to click create. So this has created the job itself. Now I'm going to quickly go back so we can see where we are within the process. That's the configuration. We're going to go into the configuration. And this job just down here is the one we just created. We created it as a manual trigger and it's the purge type. And we've never run this job, okay? So if we click that job just here, now this is going to give us the opportunity to select the file that we want to upload. So we're going to click this and we're just going to do the import one file, open, and we can preview it. So now here we go. Here's all of our chocolate cake, bread loaves. This is the same as is in the file, so that's all looking good. Click create. At this point, it's saying, are you sure you want to run this job? And the reason that there's lots of capital letters here, it's basically checking with you that you're aware that you're about to delete everything that's in the current database and replace it. So obviously, if you've got a huge product database, you definitely don't want to be deleting it. That's why a lot of caution needs to be used when using the purge function. But we do definitely want to delete it, so we're going to click confirm. And you can see just here, it was just last run, so that was successful. It was last run just a second ago. And now we're going to go in and check to see if that upload worked. So if we go to categories, yep, here we go. We've now got bread and cakes. If we go into the bread category, there's our bread roll and bread loaf. Let's have a look in the cakes category. There's our chocolate cake and our lemon cake. So now the import has been successful. These products have been uploaded. And it's removed those old products that we saw previously. So this is a successful example of the purge function being used. Now, what happens if we wanted to update some of these products? So if I go into the bread category just here and go to bread roll, you remember that we talked about SKU field just here, and you can see on the left just here in the product info, we've got SKU 001. So it's just a unique identifier, like a code for that particular product. If we go to you can see here how that matches along. Yet we expect that. That's correct. Now, if I wanted to update some of these products using a spreadsheet, I've pre-prepared another spreadsheet here. So, for example, if I wanted to add sesame to the bread loaf as an allergen, and I maybe wanted to remove the allergens from the cakes, how would we go about this? Well, first of all, we need to make sure that the SKU fields are populated within the database. So if we go to categories just here again, and we go to bread, and we go to bread loaf, you can see here SKU 002 is populated in there. Now, in the update file, here you see we've got SKU002. We need those numbers to be the same because it's going to look up the product based on this column here, this SKU field. So whenever you want to update a product from the spreadsheet into the database, we need to utilize these SKU columns and make sure that the numbers are the same between here. If we want to edit this SKU field, we can literally go in, click edit, and we can add and edit here as required. But obviously, in this instance, we don't need to edit it. We need it to remain 02 if we want this one to update. So we're going to click save just here. And so you see here, SKU002, and at the moment, it's just got the serials. And what we want to run this update, so it adds, in this instance, we've added sesame to the allergens at this stage. Okay, so we're going to go back to our imports section. We're going to go to our prep import because what we know that all of the column headers and the column structure and the file structure of the spreadsheet is exactly the same as before. We're not going to run we don't want to run a purge again, so we can't use that job. But we are going to click create. This time we're going to do the create and update. So we're utilizing the update functionality here. I'm not going to put an error email because we don't need to at this point. I'm going to click create. And now it's time to select the file again. We're going to select the file. And at this point, we're going to do update to. That's this. I've already exported these CSV files from Google Sheets, just the ease of the video. And I click preview. And you can see just here that sesame is now added on and the allergens for the cakes are now removed. So we can see here the preview matches really nicely to the sheet we just uploaded. And I'm going to click create. Cool. So you can see just here, that's that job that we just created and have just run just a second ago. Now, if we go to categories, go back to that bread and go to that bread loaf. There we go. It's now added sesame onto the end of the allergens. So the import has been successful in updating this product this time. And again, we can just do another double check because there should be no allergens now on the cakes. Yep, and we're fine there. Cool. And that basically concludes the video. So here we've gone through, just to reiterate, we've gone through using the export functionality to export your product lists. We've then created an import, mapped across the fields from the spreadsheet to the database, and then we've created both the two types of jobs that you can run. The purge one, which deletes all of the existing products in the database, and the create and update job, which updates products in the database or creates them if they don't exist, but again, only updates them where there's a matching SKU. If you have any questions about the import functionality or you're struggling at all, you can always contact us, Labl.it/support. We're always more than happy to help, and we can jump on a quick video call and sort of guide you through. But hopefully this video has been helpful. Yeah, again, if you have any questions, please do contact us.